hot topic of the hour. Special counsel David Weiss bringing charges against former FBI informant Alexander Smirnov. He says he lied about President Biden and Hunter Biden taking $5 million apiece in bribes from Ukrainian energy company Burisma, while Joe Biden was still vice president. Smirnov was arrested at a Vegas airport on Wednesday. If convicted, he faces 25 years in jail. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says there is still plenty of evidence in Biden's impeachment inquiry, and they will continue to follow the truth. He said this: to be clear, the impeachment inquiry is not reliant on the FBI FD 1023 form. That's where Smirnov said $5 million to one Biden and $5 million to the other Biden. Comer goes on. It is based on a large record of evidence, including bank records and witness testimony, revealing that Joe Biden knew of and participated in his family's business dealings. Just this week, we had another witness confirm that Joe Biden was, in fact, the brand being sold by the Bidens around the world. Joe Pinion, we had James Comer on yesterday, and I asked him about what is the smoking gun here? What's your most important evidence in terms of money laundering and bribery on the Biden family and Joe Biden? Here's what he told me. Watch.
We know that there was a pretty extensive money laundering scheme. We know that they used a complex series of transactions through what I consider shell companies. A shell company, as your viewers know full well, is a company with no assets or no known purpose. And this was a complex way to try to deceive the IRS and to operate in the shady manner that they operated. One of the things that you'll notice on all of the bank statements is a lot of payments to credit cards, and they were various credit cards. Well, first of all, we've tracked those two payments. $250,000 Joe Biden received directly from the family influence peddling scheme. There's no question about that. We've traced the money, and we have the bank memorandums to prove how that money went from the influence peddling schemes to Joe Biden's back pocket. But you look at all of this and all the money that his family took in, and it's a clear violation of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. That's clearly defined in the legislation as what constitutes a bribe, and a bribe to family members.
So we've got a spotlight on this, Joe Pinion. Obviously, the Democrats and the White House, I guess, feel that if they take down Smirnov, the FBI informant, who we were told for months was an incredibly trusted FBI informant, has been an informant for a long time. He's trusted. He said that the Burisma executive told him, you got to give $5 million to one Biden and $5 million to another Biden. And now the DOJ is taking this guy down. Your reaction?
The FBI is a mess. And this is what many people have talked about with the fact that we need to clean house within our institutions. First, let's just start with the fact that I don't even know how David Weiss is still working on this case. You go all the way back to what happened in that courtroom with Judge Narika when she was basically forced to basically disclose or have the prosecutor from Delaware realize that they were trying to grant or potentially grant this broad immunity to Hunter Biden. And now the people that were in charge of this deal are now in charge of investigating how, if the deal was real, actually happened. So this whole thing stinks to the high heavens. Someone who was on the payroll of the FBI for years, reportedly received hundreds of thousands of dollars, now all of a sudden in the 11th hour is no longer credible. So, yeah, it makes no sense, but it does make you think that we need to just look at the paper trail, follow the paper trail wherever it leads, and finally let the American people know once and for all whether or not the former vice president is, in fact, in many ways corrupt.
Well, Cheryl, you know, the issue around this charge against Smirnov is that it may very well stop other whistleblowers from coming forward. This is an intimidation tactic. Threaten this guy with 25 years in prison because he told he told the Oversight Committee that Burisma paid Biden and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden $5 million apiece. How are you going to get other whistleblowers to come out and say what they know?
Well, that is the concern, and the FBI has stated that. And I want to be clear here. Look, there are a lot of really good, very good FBI agents out there. There are some issues at the agency and the department, certainly, and this is one of them with the way that this witness was handled. But I will say that, you know, what they pinpointed in with this particular with Smirnov was that he had changed his story, and so they went back after him. We'll see, you know, what we learn with this particular issue. But back to Hunter Biden for a second here. This is one piece of the puzzle of what Hunter Biden was doing. Remember, thanks to Weiss, I'm going to defend Weiss here, you've got the gun charge. You've got the old gun charge. That's still plaguing him. You've got the tax charges. That is plaguing him in California. So there's more going on with Hunter Biden than just this piece of the puzzle, and that the fact that he had zero experience and had no business being on an energy board in Ukraine. What was he offering? We know what he was offering: access to his father. So, I think that this has it's become very complicated, obviously, but this is just one piece of the puzzle. I think there's so many other things to focus on when it comes to Hunter Biden at this point.
Well, he's going to be testifying soon. He'll be there on the hot seat in about 2 weeks' time, John.
Yeah, I think this whole situation, what it tells me is the Democrats are being very hypocritical when they accuse Donald Trump of potentially becoming a dictator. I mean, my goodness, the way they're politicizing the Department of Justice, it's sickening. And it really goes against what a democracy is all about. And by the way, this guy wasn't the only witness. There are other witnesses. There are other types of evidence that call into question what Joe Biden and family were doing as far as obtaining funds illegally.
Yeah, really extraordinary stuff here.